It's been almost a year since Deity announced the PR-2, and I was recently asked by Deity to review this recorder and give my honest opinions on it. While this video is not sponsored by Deity, I'm very grateful for the opportunity because, let's be honest, there are a ton of audio recorders on the market, and not only that, a majority of these recorders people are buying are mainly the wireless recorders such as the Rode Wireless Pro because of how easy they are to use and how the audio is already synced into the footage before you start editing. That's not to say recorders such as the PR-2 don't have a purpose in the market, however. While this recorder doesn't offer wireless recording like the Rode Wireless Pro, it still packs a ton of features that are worth considering if you're in the market for a 32-bit float recorder. At first glance, this audio recorder is obviously not the most compact compared to some of the other recorders on the market, but it is still small enough for you to get away with just tucking it in a coat pocket, or if you don't have a pocket, Deity includes this attachable clip that's easy to use, and I really like how they give you the option to remove it with these if you don't need it. Inside the box, the recorder includes two AA batteries as well as a 32GB micro SD card, which means you can start using this recorder right out of the box if you find yourself needing a recorder very last minute for whatever reason at all. Battery life on this recorder can last up to 30 hours, and record time with the included memory card is going to be just a little over 40 hours, so this recorder can last you basically all day if you decide to power it on and leave it recording the whole time, if that's going to make your production day run smoothly. I will say the battery cover on this recorder can be improved. I really liked how the old Tascam DR10L just used a simple hinge system that you can use to access with one finger. This cover, on the other hand, is a bit more stubborn when I'm trying to take it off, and I actually am having to use both of my thumbs to force it off, and honestly, it feels like when it finally pops off and I'm about to break the cover just to access the batteries in the memory card. Also in the box is going to be Deity's WLav Pro microphone with an included clip, and I really like this lav. One, because it's very tiny and discreet compared to some of the other lavaliers I've used, but the windbreaker that's included is very easy to attach if you need it. Deity also offers an accessories kit, which I don't have currently, but it does come with additional windbreakers in black or white, extra clips, as well as some stickies if you need to mount the lav to your subject that way. The lav mic can also be securely fastened to the PR-2 thanks to the built-in thread locks, so if this is a must for you when it comes to buying recorders, Deity's definitely got you covered. If you want to upgrade from the included microphone, the recorder can provide up to 5 volts of power to other microphones, which is way more than most other audio recorders on the market. So you have more microphone options to choose from with the PR-2. Looking at the top of the recorder, you'll notice an input jack for your lav mic, an output jack for your headphones, as well as a toggle switch in the middle, which, after doing some research, functions a certain way depending on if you have the US version or the global version of the PR-2. Yes, there's 2 versions of this recorder. Since I live in the United States, I was sent the US version, which means when you have the switch turned to the left, you'll be able to plug in headphones to the output jack and monitor your audio. But when you flip the switch to the right, it's going to mute the audio from the output jack. On the global version, if you were to flip the switch to the right, it's going to bypass the powering system built into the recorder and allow you to use this for backup recording from the primary recorder that you're using. It's just a great way to have backup tracks in 32-bit float if you're worried about something going wrong with your primary recorder. However, I don't get this luxury in the United States thanks to a bunch of patents by a company called Zaxcom, who have a patent on wireless recorders that can record internally, which is exactly what Rode and DJI have on the market. And if you didn't know, Zaxcom actually has a lawsuit against Rode for patent infringement. So Deity just basically chose to make a version for the US to prevent themselves from being sued. And I completely understand and respect Deity for doing this, but of course, it's a big disappointment for us here in the United States. But wait, there's more to this switch on the US version. Flip the switch to the left, obviously, you can monitor audio from the headphones. Flip it to the right, it mutes the output jack. But if I flip it back to the left again, it's going to let you monitor audio once more with headphones. However, if you start recording on this recorder, it's going to mute the output jack completely, and it makes it useless, even for your headphones if you were monitoring the audio. This is obviously not what we want for those of us here in the United States, but if you do live in other parts of the globe, you'll obviously be able to purchase the global version of this recorder and have more capabilities with that switch on the top. Everything else I'm going to talk about next works on both the US and the global version, so the switch is really the only thing that you have to worry about that's different between these 2 versions that they offer. When powering on the recorder, we're going to get a nice colored display that shows you all the main settings you have in place, which is really nice compared to some of the recorders on the market that don't have a display to tell you what your settings are. And to access the menus, you simply short press the record button once, and this record button also works as a dial, so you can scroll back and forth to navigate all the settings. If you hold down the record button, obviously it's going to start and stop the recording. And the power button on the side also acts as the back button if you need to make your way back to certain menus while you're navigating the settings. It's a very simple and user-friendly way to navigate the recorder, which I really like because I've always been used to having to tap the same two buttons on other recorders nonstop just to get to where I want to go in the settings. But the built-in dial on this recorder is a very nice touch, and I hope to see other recorders do something like this. When you take this recorder out of the box and power it on for the first time, you're going to notice it just start recording instantly, and this is because Deity has it on a default record setting called Always, meaning when you power on the PR-2, it's just going to start recording instantly. This can easily be changed to a manual setting in the menu, so no worries if you don't want instant recording when you power on your PR-2 every time. If you triple tap the power button, this is going to allow you to lock the recorder, so your subject can't mess with the recorder if they do for any reason, which is a great feature that every recorder should have. And there's also an auto lock feature in the settings that allows you to tell the recorder to lock itself once you've started recording after 15 seconds. Another great feature if you find yourself forgetting to lock the recorder all the time, if that's something you want to do. The USB-C port on the side can allow you to not only provide external power to this recorder, but you can use it to send over timecodes if you're a big fan of using timecodes. Speaking of timecodes, another benefit to this recorder is you can download an app called Sidus Audio, which allows you to wirelessly connect the PR-2 via Bluetooth that has a range of 250 feet, and you can control up to 48 PR-2s using this app, which is overkill for my needs. But hey, if you're looking to buy 48 PR-2s after watching this video, then I'm sure you're going to make Deity very happy today. This app allows you to control all your PR-2s at once, as well as make adjustments to each of their settings if you need to, and you can sync all the recorders with a Deity PC1 timecode device to help make capturing and editing audio much easier in post-production. And you're probably wondering how Deity is getting around any patent infringements by Zaxcom doing this. So using the app, when you select the monitoring button, it's going to bring up a pop-up message letting you know that your system is transmitting, but it's not saving the recordings directly to your phone, because that would be an infringement on that US patent we talked about earlier. Outside of that, the app works great, and I'd rather control everything from my phone using the app, so I'm just not constantly having to go over to each person that has a PR-2 to check the settings as well as start and stop recordings. Simpler is always just going to be better. Like I've mentioned throughout the video so far, the PR-2 has the ability to record in 32-bit float, but only if you're recording in mono. So if you try to record in stereo, it's going to default back to a 24-bit recording, which to me doesn't really affect me because I record in mono anyway. Now, in case you're wondering how this recorder sounds, I've actually switched over to the PR-2 for this part of the video, just to give you an idea on how this 32-bit float recorder sounds. If you don't know the perks of 32-bit float recording, then I highly recommend you look into it, because when you have subjects that talk very loud or very soft, the 32-bit float record option just allows you to adjust the audio in post however much you need to without introducing a lot of noise, which is great if you find yourself not always getting your audio settings right in the recorder for every subject that you mic up. Switching back over to my normal audio, I think the PR-2 does a great job. It sounds very clean. The recorder overall is very user-friendly if you don't have much knowledge or experience with audio recorders, and I definitely can see myself using this on a few upcoming projects that I have later this year. Price-wise, you can buy this recorder brand new for $230. I think this is reasonably priced compared to some of the other recorders on the market, but it's going to come down to personal preference. So if you want a recorder that you can take straight out of the box and start using right away, or you want a very nice color display, or a very simple user interface if you don't have a lot of experience with recorders, I think the PR-2 is definitely something to consider. Overall, I like this recorder. I think there's some improvements they can make, obviously, to the battery compartment, but the recorder is going to get the job done well for me, even though this is the US version. But for those of you that can purchase the global version, you're definitely going to like what the recorder has to offer with that toggle switch on the top. If you want to purchase the PR-2 or any of the accessories, I'll have links down in the description below. Thank you again to Deity for sending me this PR-2, and I really hope to be reviewing more of your products very soon. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.